Section 12.5, volumes of pyramids and cones. We're going to find those volumes. So it turns out that if you have a pyramid and a prism with the exact same base area and height, that the prism's volume is 3 times that of the pyramid. Or another way to say that is the pyramid's volume is 1/3 the area of the prism. So the formula for the volume of a pyramid is just 1/3 the area of the base times the height. And that's it. So it's really similar. We just have to remember once we calculate to divide by 3. And that sometimes students forget that. But if we look at this particular pyramid, we have a pentagon right here. And it is regular. I can see all the sides are marked congruent. So my volume is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. And since the base is a regular polygon, then that means I have to use 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter and then the height. So I have 1/3 times 1/2. The apothem is 2.8 and the perimeter is 4 times 5 or 20. And the height is this inside here, so that is 7. So multiplying all that together, my volume is about 65.3 repeating cubic inches. So it's really not too difficult to calculate. So let's see here. This is also this happens to be a hexagonal. So now we have to use we use the same formula, but we're not given the apothem. We're going to have to find it. So we have 1/3 the area of the base times the height. And again, the base area formula is 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. And I do know the height of it, of the prism, right there, is 8. So I will put in my 8 right there. I also know the perimeter is 6 times 6. 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 6 or 36. So I can put my perimeter in here and put in 36. So now what I need to find is that apothem. So again, I am trying to find this. And that comes from that apothem splits the side in half, so that makes that 3. And I am trying to find A. I need to know the angle, so if I take 360 divided by 6, that gives me a 60-degree angle. That means this is a 30, 60, 90-degree triangle. And again, you could use trig here, or you can use the ratios of x, 2x, and x root 3. So that makes my apothem equal to 3 root 3. So 3 root 3 is what I put in for my apothem. I multiply that by 36 and 1/2. I have my 1/3 there and times 8. So I like to calculate all of the rest of it and then just hit divide by 3. So I'm going to take 1/2 of 36, which is 18, multiply by 3 root 3, and then multiply by 8. And that gives me 748.25. And now you can multiply that by 1/3 and put it in parentheses, or you can just divide by 3, which gives you approximately 249.42 centimeters cubed. All right, so your turn. I'd like you to try this one. Find the volume of the pyramid. Round your answer to 2 decimal places if need be, and then you can look back to the notes to make sure you got it correct. We're going to move on to working backwards on one where they're giving us the volume. and we're solving for something else. So volume formula for a pyramid is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. I'm given my volume is 605. That's equal to 1/3. My base area is it's regular. I can see these are all marked. So that's x by x. So x times x. And then my height is 15. So 605 is equal to 1/3 times x squared times 15. At this point, I could take 1/3 of 15, which is 5. That just gives me 5x squared equals 605. Divide by 5, that gives me x squared equals 121. And when I take the square root of each side, I just get 11 meters for my value of x. Okay, your turn to try one where you're working backwards. The volume of a pyramid is 24 cubic feet, and the area of the base is 9 square feet. Find the height of the pyramid. So you try that one on your own now, and then again check the notes to see that you have done it correctly. All right, volumes of cones, okay? Very similar, pyramids and cones. So it's still the same formula, 1/3 the area of the base times the height. It's just that your base shape doesn't change. It'll always be a circle. So you can put in pi r squared every single time. So if we are finding the volume of this, volume equals 1/3 pi r squared, area of the base, times the height. My radius is 4, so 1/3 times pi times 4 squared, and I need my height. I don't have my height for this. Now, this piece right here, this is the height. The other piece of information they gave me right there is the slant height. But I can use that with the Pythagorean theorem. So h squared plus 4 squared equals 2 square root of 15 squared, which this gives me h squared is equal to, I'm going to subtract 16 from 60, which gives me 46. And then I take the square root, so h is the square root of 46, or approximately 6.78. So that's what I need for my height, 6.78. Now multiplying all these together gives me a volume of 113.64 units cubed. And that could be slightly varied if you use the square root of 46 or 6.78. Okay, now your turn to try this one. Very similar to the one I just did. Find the volume of the cone, round your answer to 2 decimal places. And again, check back to the answer key and the notes in the notes so that you can see if you have done it correctly. Okay, so now we get into a trickier one because we have to find the volume of the cone, but we are not given the radius. We are going to have to find that. So again, I'm going to start out by writing my volume formula. So my volume is equal to 1/3 pi times my radius squared times my height, which is 5. But what I'm going to have to find is that radius right there. Well, you can see I'm given that 70-degree angle. So now I'm going to use trig. I am looking at the opposite side of that angle and the adjacent. So that is my tangent or TOA ratio. So the tangent of that 70-degree angle is always equal to the exact same ratio when you divide the side opposite by the adjacent. And now cross multiplying and solving gives you r equals 1.82. Remember, your calculator has to be in degree mode, and I would check and make sure that you can calculate that accurately. So now I'm going to put in 1.82, square it, and then that's going to be multiplied by 5, by pi, and by 1/3, or dividing by 3. So that gives me a volume of approximately 17.34 feet cubed. So these aren't that much different, okay? I'm going to have you try this one on your own. There's really nothing different about it. It's just you have to make sure you understand that this is, in fact, the height. even though it's not, it is perpendicular to the base, and that's how we know it's the height. So what do we do for this? Find the volume of the solid. The last time we did one like this, we did surface area, and we had to eliminate some of the bases. But for volume, that's not true. So really what we're going to do here is we are going to find the volume of the pyramid. And so that's 1/3 the area of the base times the height. And we're going to take that and add it to the volume of the prism, which is just the area of the base times the height. So we're going to add these together when we're done. And that will give us the total volume. So let's work on the pyramid first. We take 1/3. My base area is 8 times 8, or 64. And my height is 6. So that gives me, that volume is 128. Now let's work on the prism. So again, my base area is 8 times 8. And my height is also, in this case, it is 5. So that gives me 320. So now my combined volume is taking 128 plus 320, which is 448 meters cubed. All right, there's one for you to try. If you're finding the volume of this solid, what you're going to do is you are going to find the volume of the prism, and then you're going to actually subtract the volume of the cone. So see if you can do that, and then check back to the answer key to make sure that you have done it correctly. And that is the end of section